Ooh, can I have some?
And now we're going to move into our Tuta Loca Es section, where we call out motherfuckers who are doing the most. So,
wow, this podcast, we out here.
So, I saw clips of the Harry and Meghan interview with Auntie Oprah, and wow, more white people doing more racist shit, but at a higher level. Interesting. I wasn't surprised at all. But I think, Glory, something that you surfaced when we were sort of getting ready for the episode about gaslighting is really at the center of what's happening here. So I'd love to hear your thoughts a little bit about that perspective.
Yeah, when I saw, I didn't see the whole interview, but I did see parts of it. And when I saw the parts that kind of came out where like, even Meghan was addressing the fact that she had suicidal thoughts, or like that people were asking her about like the color of her baby. I was just thinking about like sometimes the reason why I brought up the gaslighting was because there was this former housewife, Bethany Frankel, who was like, at first, like, you know what, she's just kind of whiny, whatever. And it's like, how dare you invalidate somebody else's experience? You may not get it, but if somebody says that I feel suicidal, or like most importantly, my feelings are hurt, shut the fuck up. Whoever tell somebody that their feelings, because at the root of all this is just feelings are hurt. You had these expectations that you were going to be embraced into this family, and you already are going in there feeling other. And mind you, Meghan Markle, you know, she is biracial, so it's not like, I'm not taking away from the fact that maybe.
No, I hear you, but that she's not, and again, it's not about her, it's more about them. Like, damn, you can't even take somebody who's quote unquote.
Right. You have right, and you still got it. Like, what? Like, so
that one drop rule.
Right. So I feel like you're already feeling other, and you already feel like you have to do the most, because like you love this man, but now you gotta impress the whole monarchy. Like, you know what kind of pressure that is? Like, all we gotta do over here is impress the mom making the food. Like, she gotta learn rules and shit. It was a lot. So I just felt like seeing Bethany's comment, like, and then she apologized, but it's like, you don't get to like gaslighting is like, you don't, maybe because you have privilege, you don't see it, but it's a thing that exists. And it's like, I'm trying to speak to you, and now I'm on this platform and you still got questions about it. I'm a shut. Like, Meghan Markle is a better woman than I am, because I would have snuffed Bethany. But it's about the fact that I brought it up because before I was a comedian, I used to work in marketing, and like, you know, when you're like the person behind like the imagery that gets pushed out on social media, or the language, like a lot of people don't, when they think of social media, they think, oh, you're just posting. There's a whole strategy that lives behind these brands when you're trying to market to certain people. Like, there's this whole sentiment that sometimes you're the only person in that room, and you're trying to explain them like, you can't say shit like this, and people make you feel like you're crazy or super sensitive, or like even sometimes when I would have moments where like, if I wore my hair a certain way, like the client like wouldn't really make eye contact with me, and I'm telling my boss about it, and they're just like, you're just being sensitive. And sometimes you have to, like, you ask yourself like, yo, am I bugging? Tripping. Like, am I, like, when you're in those spaces, because there's like this fine line of like professionalism, and it's like, you fake low-key being racist, like low-key, and people don't know. Like, I'm in a much better place, but when I was in that place, like, I was just angry all the time. I would have to go. I love my job. I love what I was doing, but I kind of forget like how stressed I would be going into the office, like having to make sure my hair was a certain way, spending more time on the weekends to straighten my hair so that I wouldn't have a rough week with the client. One time I came back from Morocco and I didn't feel like doing my hair, so I put my hair back on, and my boss would always comment on it, like, mind your fucking business. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that gaslighting is real, and it happens in different regards. And when you're a person of privilege, sometimes you can't see outside of yourself, and you are like, people are being sensitive. No, racism is still real. And if it wasn't real, they wouldn't have asked her what color would the baby be.
Yeah, that's wild.
It was. Because if it wasn't that big a deal, then nobody should be hiding behind their motherfucking comments.
Right, like if it was Prince William, just say that.
Right. If it was, you know, Miss Elizabeth.
I heard it wasn't Queen Elizabeth though. I think it was Prince Charles or Prince William.
I believe it was one of the men's.
Yeah, I think it was one of them.
I believe that.
And they probably say like, you know how they be doing like just talking over whiskey, like, oh, Henry. What's his name? Harry. And it's like, that's not okay. I'm gonna be calling this man Harry, my bad. But yeah, I get what I'm saying. So
yeah, 100%. And basically, like in the interview, there was a part where Harry was basically saying, "I'm just grateful my wife isn't fucking dead like they did my mother." Like
yes,
he basically was like, "I'm just glad they didn't kill the bitch, and that I'm here sitting with Auntie Oprah." Like,
yeah. It was. I also didn't watch it, but I like saw what Twitter was going on about it. I saw this whole thread of like how Black Twitter was reacting to it. And that was one thing that stood out to me was they were saying that even in this interview where Meghan Markle was receiving all this like, negative, this disrespect from the monarchy or whatever, that even in the interview she was still respectful and like not naming names and doing all that. And what's his name? Henry was like, nope. This bitch said it.
I mean, honestly, I would be shook. And that's like what happens when you're dealing with people of power. It can be in any relevance, like the monarchy or HR at your job. You're afraid to speak up, and often, like I knew as a person of color, as a Black Latina, that if I spoke up, I would be on everybody's radar. After I said that I was experiencing racism, they try to make it seem like I was the problem. I would be in HR every week and they would say like, oh, it's confidential. And I'm just like trusting these people, the power. Mm-hmm. And then they ended up being like, you know what? You just got to go. You're the problem. I'm the problem. So, and I think I know that I'm not ever going to get this credit, but when everything was happening in the summer and everybody was like, these brands were standing in solidarity and within their own institutions, they had issues. I reached out to my old company. I was like, y'all racist. And because I knew there were people there that wouldn't speak up. And I know what it is to be like, you're making all this money, but you don't want to lose your job. Like I was making 6 figures, but I'm like, y'all freaking my mental health. Like y'all are making me seem like I'm crazy. So it's probably the same thing for Meghan, but on a bigger scale. Like you have this opportunity and for you to speak out on it, like people are gonna like, how dare you not want to be a princess? But it's like your mental health, I don't give a fuck who, what, whatever is much more important than the legacy of people that aren't even looking out for you.
Exactly. Period. Right. Period. 100%. Well, I just wish, I wish her luck. I wish her son luck. At the end of the day, like, I feel like what this shows us is that racism is not solved with money. Racism, you have all the money in the world, but the experience of being marginalized is a fucking traumatizing experience, period. And it would take you not caring about yourself and your identity and your community in a way that's harmful, though. Not like, oh, I don't care what people think, but like not caring to the point that you don't care that you're being disrespected in order to survive in a world like that and enjoy it. And clearly she's not willing to be disrespected, which is right. She shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. So royalty is royal. Not all that glitters is fucking gold.
Right. And like, I think some people are still battling with that, right? Like, I think it's easy to be in positions, like maybe if you're like a freelance or you're creative and you just do it, and when you're creative, like, I'm not going to take these roles because I don't like what that represents. When you're working and you're like the head of these companies and like people are looking to you, I think sometimes people compromise. And that's just the truth. And I've seen it. I'm like, I know damn well you did not sell your soul to try to get this promotion, but it's like, when it's 250 rack,
yep.
Like, I mean, so yeah, it's still obviously like things that we need to work on.
Yeah. Well, she'll be all right. I really do believe she'll be all right,
Oh, she was Tyler Perry. She got Tyler Perry Studios now. They probably shooting some shit.
Right.
So I was tight. I'm like, Tyler Perry, get into this.
Tyler Perry is always gonna make a dime where he can make a motherfucking dime.
Yo, I saw a tweet that was like, if you would have told me that Tyler Perry and Oprah would be the cause of like the downfall of the monarchy, I would like what else is 2021 gonna bring?
We said at the beginning. We said what happened last March. That's what I'm saying. I saw a tweet that somebody said they gotta make Medea goes to Buckingham. I was like, I'm delete the account. Yo, I'm done.
Love it. All right.